Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today. And my apologies that I wasn't able to be with you in person. My name is Kefaya Diab, and I am an assistant professor at the Writing, Rhetoric, and Digital Studies Department at UNC Charlotte. I put here my website, kefayadiab.weebly.com. You might want to take a picture because you can see the full presentation, the slides, and the video in there, especially because I will not be reading from the slides. So if you feel that you want to go to the slides, read some stuff, or go see the documentary film examples from students, then you will find that available in the slides. So today I'm going to talk about this course, Composing Across Borders, Documentary Filmmaking Through Indigenous Research Methodology. And that's how, this is one way how I do teaching in the beeline space, where I diverge from traditional ways, not only in teaching, but also in doing documentary filmmaking, in filmmaking in general, and research. So this course focuses on transnational digital composition that engages with differences across cultures, languages, and borders. The application of the theoretical things that we learn is that students, I divide them in groups of 3 to 4 students each, and I assign one international student from UNC Charlotte that I recruited in the semester before or in the break, during the break, so that one international student will work with the domestic students to narrate the international students' narrative about writing across cultures and education and literacy across cultures in a short documentary film. So I came across this indigenous research methodology that focuses on relationality and relational accountability a few years ago. I invite you to read this source, Shawn Wilson, What is Indigenous Research Methodology, and also their book, Research is Ceremony. So this methodology says that instead of, excuse me, focusing on validity and reliability in mainstream research, the Western model, the focus is on the relationship of the researcher, not only with what's traditionally called subjects or participants, but also all elements in the research project. So I apply this methodology during course design and the filmmaking project that includes the pre-production, production, and post-production. In course design, there are two ways how I enhance or think of the relationship between me as an educator and the international students. I think of their labor, so I applied for several funding to pay them for their labor. I anticipated they would put about 10 to 15 hours of work, so I paid them for that. And I also accounted for the ownership and authorship. Traditionally, the researcher or the filmmaker gets all the recognition, but here I created the consent form so that the international students also share the intellectual property. For instance, when one of my students won an award from my department, it was money they distributed among the filmmakers who created the film, but and also the international student who told their story. So this is something new. Traditionally, this is not being done. So, through the filmmaking processes in the pre-production, international students had to write their narratives and to share them with my domestic students, and my domestic students did the same. So it's not a one-way communication. They were showing how they are getting to know each other. In the production, international students shared their agenda. So it wasn't that the filmmakers were forcing their agenda, it was collaboration. And also, international students gave their input during the video editing process. In the post-production, we celebrated students' work in an exhibit wherein we invited the community of the university on campus. And we, of course, publish them online. And also, domestic students and international students wrote reflections about their relationships with each other throughout the process of filmmaking, where some of them decided that they were going to stay friends with each other even after the end of the project. So if I'm going to think about the relational outcomes, I can think of how the project established new relationships between domestic and international students who usually are separated from each other and isolated from each other. So it created a communication for intercultural communication. It also established a new relationship between the filmmakers and the participants. So those became like equal partners. And I also prioritize the relationships among the domestic students themselves who worked inside the class to create a product where I wanted them to prioritize their long-term relationships with each other over the final product. So I want to leave you here with this quote from a student who had several classes with me where I talked about filmmaking. And this is a case that shows how students grow over time, and here she's reflecting on her relationship with her new professional identity as a filmmaker. So these are the five documentary films that resulted from the first year that I taught this class in 2023, and I invite you to watch these documentaries. These are hyperlinks. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I invite you to see more about my students' work and my methodology on my website, kefayadiab.weebly.com. And also, please feel free to send me emails to diabkefaya@gmail.com. And if you want workshops for your students or for your faculty about how to incorporate documentary filmmaking and video essaying as a digital research methodology, please shoot me an email. Thank you.